Hi folks, this is Pat Gage, and today I'm going to show you on this video here how we zoom down into neighborhoods and find the good neighborhoods to the bad neighborhoods, so you can do this on your own. What I've done is first you need to go to city-data.com and then put in the city that you're going to look at. We're going to look at Bloomington, Indiana here. So once you do that, you will scroll down to about halfway through here. You'll see this map pull up. This blue colored map will come up. And this is where we're going to spend all of our time right here. Now, when this map, basically the red outline is the city itself's outline or the city limits. And what we're going to look for is a couple buttons across the top here. We want to make sure that we have medium household income selected here. It's typically the default, but just make sure it is, because again, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the medium household income in these areas. Also, we want to make sure that this is selected or clicked, meaning that the most recent value, meaning the most recent data. And then I'll show you in a subsequent video what we use with this button here. But first what we want to do is we're going to go to options here, and we're going to select this, and then we're going to change the opacity of this area here. As you can see, when you mouse over these are different colors, meaning dark, black, different areas. These are different sections in the city. Now, these aren't zip codes. These are just absolutely sections in the city. So what we need to do first is go up here and select this slider here, put opacity, and I know I'm saying that wrong, and I apologize, put it all the way to 100%. And if you notice, that turns your map pretty dark, right? So what we're looking for, again, going back to our data set, we're looking for medium household income. The darker, the more affluent or the more medium household income there is. So if you look here, this here in this area would be a very affluent area, meaning it's a dark color. Same thing here. This is a very affluent area or a high household income. Your low incomes are in the whites, right? So this is your kind of bad areas, or I shouldn't say bad, they are below what we're looking for in our analysis. Okay, so let's get started with the number one rule of thumb that we follow, and I'll bring that up right now. The neighborhood rule of thumb number one is the medium household income. We look for between 40,000 and 70,000. Okay, now why do we do that? That research has told us that is the medium income that we want to hit when we're in B and C plus areas. It's going to get you go below that, you're going to get a lot worse collections, you're going to get a lot more tenants that don't pay. It's just, the research has told us that that's the real good area to be in. So now let's go back to our map and how we find that out in these different areas. Again, I'm staying within this colored red lines. So now what I want to do is let's see the dark area. When you click on one of these, what pops up on the side here is a dialog box that shows you the medium household income. Now, that area there that I got selected, that medium household income is $110,000. That's a little above our 40 to 70, so we don't want to enter in that or go to that area. So what we do is we go ahead and see where else we can go. Now again, what I'm looking for is these areas here, these darker but not real dark. So let's take this next section over here and see what this is. And again, it pulls it up, and then you can see that one there is 36. Now, isn't that funny that these are not like miles apart? This may be, a street apart. Isn't that funny that you can see one here at a medium income of 111 and this one here is 36? So again, doesn't meet our criteria, right? So let's go down here and go see what this is right here. There's 40,000 right there. So this one we would look for. This meets our rule number one in our median household income. Now, let's take a look at our rule number 2 and see if we can go and see what the next one is and see if this matches this rule of thumb. Now, we've got the $40,000 medium household income. Now we look at medium contract rent, meaning what is the rent in that area? Again, research has showed us that 700 to 1,000 is where you get the bulk of your middle class type of tenants. And again, it says here, you in more expensive areas like San Francisco and the East Coast, you move this up and down as you please. But this is a good rule of thumb in the Midwest to use 700 to 1,000. Again, we want to make sure we don't go below that because again, you're getting into maybe a harder type of tenant, more collections, more rent concessions and all that kind of stuff. So let's take a look, and we find that again. So we've got our 40,000. Now you find that information if you scroll down using the bar here. Now you scroll down here and see, okay, right here in this box here, the contract rent is $786 a month. So we've got 2 out of the rules of thumb met with this area here. So this would be a good one to continue working on. Now I'm also going to give you the rule of thumbs, so don't worry about that. So now we've hit 2 of our rule of thumb. Let's take a look at the third rule of thumb we use to walk this down. Now, rule of thumb number 3 is the unemployment rate. Right? So now we got medium household income, we've got the the contract rent, the unemployment rate. As you know, every little city, little town and county has their own unemployment rate. Now, what we look for is the unemployment rate shouldn't be any more higher than 2% above the total city's unemployment. All right? Now, how you find that is you go back to Google and you would type in unemployment rate, the city and the state. And typically it pulls up just like this, okay? And you can see here's Bloomington, Indiana. That's where we're looking at right now. May 2019. I'm recording this in September of 19. The unemployment rate was 3.6. Now, the national unemployment rate is 3.6 as well. So that means we don't want an unemployment rate in that little slice that we're looking at any higher than 5.6. All right, so let's toggle back there. And again, that is also shown on this little box down here. So now our unemployment rate is highlighted right here, is 3.2%. So now we've met our third criteria. And again, what I'm trying to do, folks, is I'm trying to use data to get me to a great area that I can invest in and feel comfortable in and make the cash flow that I'm looking at making. So this one here has a 3.2. So we would take this or continue our due diligence further on this particular section, which we're talking about right here. Now, let's take a look at the next rule of thumb we look at. That is rule of thumb number 4. We look at the poverty level, right? Chances are that the poverty level in this area here is not above, 20%. We try to be 15 to 20% poverty level, meaning that the percentage of population that's in poverty is not any higher than that. Again, for reasons that are pretty obvious, you don't want a whole lot of people that are in poverty. Then you're getting into subsidies. People may stay for a week or two and leave. Collections are getting a bit higher. Again, we're trying to use data to drive our real estate decisions. So now our poverty level is somewhere under 15%. More likely than not, with the 3 already being met, this is going to be hitting that. Now, let's take a look at this. This here poverty level is also on the same dialog box. And what do you know? The residents below the poverty level is 22%. Bingo, we got a red flag, don't we? Yes, we do. This is above our 15%. What this means is that you may have a harder or more challenging time if you go in and buy in this area, because 22% of the people in this zip code or in this, and that's the zip code right there of the area that I've got highlighted, are under poverty. So what that means is it's going to be a poorer type house. Even though it met the first three criteria, that one's a big one because, again, you have a lot more people that can't afford your rent. And again, if you're a value-add investor looking at coming in and doing some upgrades and cranking up the rent, that may not work in this area. Now, again, these are just rules of thumb. These are what I'm using in my investing. I thought this would be helpful for you to kind of, because I get asked all the time, how do you find cities? How do you find where to invest? This is just one way to do it. So now we've kind of got a red flag there. So let's go and see what our next and last rule of thumb is, and that's the ethnicity mix, okay? You're looking for, and I'll show you on this dialog box come up, you don't want any one particular slice of this pie to be more than 75%. You want the diversity of thing. You want Asians, you want whites, you want blacks, you want Hispanics. What that does is create a multiracial neighborhood, which improves the growth, improves your ability to market to different ethnicities. So let's take a look at that. And this is found again on the same dialog box. All right, you just scroll back up here again. Everything that I'm showing you is on this dialog box for each one of these slices. So what I've got here is I've got right here is white, that's 66%. Okay, I also have some Asians at 21%. I have some Hispanics at 8.7. So this is a good ratio, right? This is a really good ratio because, again, you get that mix in there, not all one ethnicity. And again, the only red flag here is the poverty level. Now, that's a call for you. That's going to be a call to see if you want to continue with that. I would look and see and do some more due diligence on the area because, again, this data is not absolute. This data is not 100% accurate. I would go and maybe do some more research, and I'll maybe do a video on that later. But what you do is you make that decision. What you would do is, okay, I want to mark that, and then you go and do the same thing for all these other slices in here. One thing that I may have forgot to tell you is the whiter or the lighter, I should say, the slice, the poorer the slice is. So let me show you that. Here's one right next door to that one. It was 113. Let's take a look at that. That one there is really white, and you can plus and minus there. Sorry about that. Now, that right there is medium household income of $4,000. That is way below the poverty level. But again, it gives you an idea that you may not want to be in that zip code or this area. Now, let's take this, and again, all the data is on here, and you can see 61% of the people are in poverty. Your contract rent is $826. Unemployment rate is 13%. So it doesn't hit our rules of thumb, but it gives you an idea of, okay, I don't want to be in that area. So now with that in mind, let me take you to one last thing I'll show you here. So I've said, okay, this is not my area, right? So I want to see where that area is, right? I know Bloomington pretty well, or you don't. Let's say you don't. You come back up here and click on options. You move this slider back to 25%. Okay. Close it. And now I'm going to zoom in. Okay, so what I'm going to do, and I'll show you this zooms in and you can actually show the streets and what street it begins on and what street it doesn't begin on. There's that box that we're talking about, right? So I get closer and closer and I can get down to the city blocks, right? That is what street. I'm probably going to have to change the opacity a little bit more here. All right, okay. So I can get down there and I can say, okay, that's East, Avenue. So I can see exactly East Atwater Avenue. And again, the closer you get, you can see these. So I can sit here and go, okay, I don't want anything from this street here all the way past and up to let's say East 10th Street. See how I did that? See how I'm able to get in there and just get that block, and there's that block we were looking at that's very poor. I don't want anything, but you know what? Here's very poor, and here's that one we talked about that was 110,000. Right? They're right next door. They're a hop, skip, and a jump. So that's why real estate investing is hyper local. And again, you would not want anything in this box here because one, there's nobody there, first of all. How many people are actually there? 3,000 people. But it's, again, 62% in poverty. So again, that's an area you can't. So using city data, you're able to come in here and gather some awesome information. And again, going back, zooming back out, I can then find the best areas of the city by sitting here in my office and clicking on these different pieces. And again, to recap, the darker the colors of the slices, the more medium household income there is, right? Again, slide it back to 100. The darker it is, right? Sorry, we're getting all screwed up with our mouths here. So you may not want to go into this, but you obviously don't want to go into the white ones, right? So in this city here, the affluent part is in this area here, this area over here, and a little bit over here. All the rest of this is stuff that you wouldn't even want to touch, or even down here a little bit too. But again, this gives you a real good snapshot, and I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, by all means, please give me an email. And if you use this, again, this is not, the gold standard, but this is just a way for you to get in there, do some research on a certain city. Bloomington, Indiana is one of the cities that we're targeting, and we have gone through and marked up these little territories just like this. Like I'm showing you exactly what we did to find the best areas and the best city. This is one good way to do this when you're not from the area. And again, you then can use this data and guide your broker and say, hey, listen, I know the best areas are down in this area here, north, south of town, and in this zip code. I mean, they're going to be so impressed. They're going to go, what? Well, I've already done research. And then basically you're using that data as well to, kind of compare and make sure that you're in the right spot. Okay? Well, listen, I hope that this video helped you. If, again, you have any questions, by all means, give me an email. My email is pat@opportunitycreator.com. Visit our website at opportunitycreator.com. That's opportunitycreator.com, because we create opportunities. And glad and hope this helped you. And let us know. Leave some comments, and we'll get back to you. Thank you, folks. Bye-bye now.